Granted, there are some decent reinitiation tools, I think, surrounding the Cerberus, Fafnir, and Osiris, but how feasible it's going to be for Zapman and Shinto to reliably find the follow-up, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be a tough one indeed for them. Leviathans need this win to push themselves closer to the top seed. Can they do it, or will the Kings shut them out? We're going to take it to Dulcin and Goremizer to find out.
It is a good one. This matchup somehow gets beaten out for Match of the Week. Well, because there's another good one tomorrow. But the threat of a push-pull combo underneath the Hercules tower is somewhat mitigated here. Mid-lane matchup could be fun, but not if your big man Ting sends some damage right back towards Pentatom with the body blocks. Perfect! And Shinto on the board first.
I mean, a great shot from Shinto to get that burst damage, but just burned down is going to be worthwhile. About to come off cooldown, and that is going to be a rough matchup, I think, as long as it continues going that way.
Oh no, Zapman was just going to ward. He does get a perfect ultimate onto the gank, but now he's still got two running him down. Will Genetics hit the root? He's scared to blessing himself, but Zapman won't get rooted. Instead, now it's Lord of the Afterlife from Panatom, up and over, in the re-engage from the Leviathans, and here is it, and it is swift. Genetics survives, but Captain Twig, the re-engage on Zapman won't be enough either.
I just love the re-engage so far from the Leviathans. Just out of range, Twig has to die.
Gotta be a kill, and it is. The Leviathans, and it's Panatom who gets it onto Captain Twig, finally. Wow, that was a bit of a ping-pong, wasn't it?
In the mid lane, but I like that they're keeping active on it. Wrong Hughes not letting it go to pass.
We've seen this story before, Gornit, as big man Tings just jumped on, but this time Tings has got the ultimate, and he's also got a Scarab's Blessing, so it's a second lease on life for the Hare in the mid lane, and a beautiful drop kick from Captain Twig sends Wrong beneath the tier 1 tower, and Panatom jumps in all on his own. Argus still running around. No, Zapman took the roundabout route, and this should be a kill onto big man Tings when he crashes back down, and it sure is. It's a gank from Zapman, and the Leviathans have their third.
What a rotation.
Zapman's gonna hope for some crits on this Gold Fury as the Leviathans have started up the first Fury of the game. The Camelot Kings are close by to answer. Wrong takes a polymorph, and as such, half of his health is missing, and then he's rooted in place, and then Argus is there. Wrongu was not allowed to play, and the Camelot Kings take the Gold Fury down as well. Now, Gore, inching ever so close to being back. Yeah, the Primal Fury, the Leviathans do 99.9% of the damage, and Captain Twig does the last 0.1%, and now this Fire Giant siege can begin. Be careful, Twig. That's a late game. Morgan Le Fay and Shinto makes Captain Twig pay. One Fire Giant buff stripped away.
Only prots he has is to deal with Zapman, not to deal with Shinto, and now they're getting even more aggressive. He's taking a lot.
There's a lot of cleave damage making its way into the Leviathan's draft here as well. Lord of the Afterlife re-pushes back into the Camelot Kings here. And we will take a deep breath. -1 Captain Twig. And Gore Leviathan step too far forward. One of those pieces of CC gets used onto Panatom in the back. Another gets used onto Yarkor here into the mid. So a soft defense being put in by the Leviathans, but there's no surge of engage yet from the Camelot Kings.
I mean, the damage that you can see is finally there, not just from Shinto, but Zap finally showing up and getting something done.
What happened to Zapman? Is Argus just chasing him down, and then Captain Twig does the last bit of damage? He's on the opposite side of the fight, but it doesn't matter. The Camelot Kings found a way to reach him, and here come the Kings barreling down the mid lane here. There's still a Phoenix they've got to worry about, and so they'll turn back, they'll deal with the Phoenix, and they'll send the Leviathans running back to Fountain.
2 towers and 4 Leviathans still standing. Not enough to make me feel confident running into a Titan room at this point.
We're on a knife edge here, Gord, just waiting for that jump in.
I mean, this is where the damage specifically from Tings and Netroid is going to come in handy. I mean, look at it. They started the FG. It's already at half health.
Yeah, that's
that means there's more pressure on the Leviathans, but they're more present this time around to get in there.
Wow, Variety's taking a lot of damage here. Argus has found its way onto Zapman. Zapman has just not been able to play. Variety sends the boulder his direction, but Zapman lives on. Panatom, he's taking a fight that he can't win, and big man Tings thanks him for it. Camelot Kings, they'll find the first one. Zapman crystals on away as Variety's got the Scarab's Blessing on himself as he rounds the right-hand side of this fight. Wrongyu in full-on retreat. Yarkor re-engages. Netroid finally finished off Zap.
And now it's Shinto, the last one standing forward. The DPS is gone, and they're going to kill him off.
Gore, I think this might just be the game here. Argus is going to deal the last bit of damage, and it's one lone Wrongyu against the world. The Camelot Kings had 2 kills until 34 minutes. And they'll get 4 kills in one team fight, and they'll get the win as well.
And they don't even need the FG this time around. Look, the Titan took so much damage from the Fireman as well, starting this at around half health as they walk into it. That just goes to show, again, these late game teams, and how much it's going to affect them. The Kings have been very, very good at this style of play.
Yep.
They don't care too much about the first 20 minutes.
Go to the enemy team, not one of your own, like an Athena ultimate. So there is that little hindrance with it, but Zapman, no stranger to diving into the midst of enemy backlines if necessary. If that's what the team says, hey, go, 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 we'll go ahead and jump through. But meanwhile, the Kings have picked a ton of frontline presence, but also a decent amount of peel. With the Terror has 2 big forms of CC, that Earth and Fury, so massive for them. And Xing Qian, great at locking people down with the hook slam, but most importantly, that ultimate for them as well. The Kings looking to close out this set with a 2-0, but will the Leviathans be able to shut them down? We'll find out in this game.
The Camelot Kings continue their 2-0 run over the top teams here in the SPL.
This is peek their
That's
way
right.
into
That's
it.
right.
Sam's Thanatos comes to my mind. Maybe we'll get to the area where Kumba's gonna have to get played.
Jungle fight happening right now. How apt that we talk about it. It's the solo kill plus a little bit of help there from the Argus, or plus a little attempted peel from the Argus. Panatom jumps in. Panatom
love
gets
triangle
the kill.
somewhere in there,
But
but
it is how it works out. But the Leviathans no longer one note, and they feel confident saying that about themselves as well. This is a team that can do things like this, find that advantage early and try to push things. Variety stunned down by Panatom, but he has not taken a whole lot of damage at all. Wrong, leaps forward. It's got Captain Twig. The transformation is there as well. From the Fafnir, in comes Zapman thanks to his ultimate. Variety with the assistance of Argus sends the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel spinning around, but Zapman's avoided it. Genetics has been an afterthought here for the Leviathans, and Shinto is now on the board, and this Merlin starting to swing.
I missed where Genetics was, and it's just because he got
was
lost so far back after the Pyromancer engage, the fight engage onto Variety.
more.
But now Twig, oh, that last little bit of mana is not going to find anything.
Oh man, big man Tings gets the double polymorph, but that's not enough to save his own life. Captain Twig has no mana. And so maybe a little bit of time will give him enough mana to jump on out, but the root is there from Yarkor, and the Cullen running wild. Captain Twig turns around, and Yarkor chases him to the grave. Down goes Twig, and it's a big swing here for the Leviathans, pushing that lead.
Game 1 was a bunch of single target picks. That was a good team fight from the Leviathans. Really
We're still
good
going.
engage. Genetics has died, respawned, come back into the fight. Variety, I believe, backed and healed and was able to come back and how pivotal this pick is going to be in the tournament.
And that's something that NetDroid just can't mirror. He's got to be there in the old-fashioned way with the rest of his team. Pyromancer started. Is wrong, he spreads the course to his team here, and look at the engage from Yarkor. That one's clean and easy for the Leviathans. Variety now dies for the first time this game. Pyromancer's not been reset. Argus still rumbling around there. Can Genetics and Big Man Ting steal this one away? The answer is no. Instead, Yarkor might be the target here as Captain Twig leaps in.
Yarkor is really low, but so is Twig. Twig has barely any mana to work with. Yarkor, though, is going to get taken out.
Well, the Camelot Kings have returned some CC right back to the Leviathans, but it is not nearly enough. It's the Pyro. It's 2 kills. It's going to be a third on the Genetics when Zapman hits some autos, and the Leviathans come up big. If there were any concerns about this lead getting pushed, I think now doubly so, Gore. Those concerns are by the wayside.
Well, they've taken exactly
It's a very close matchup, Gore, as we reroute
Welcome
ourselves.
to the Smite Nihilist League.
As we reroute ourselves in reality. Because reality is meaningful, at least in the context of the Leviathans versus the Camelot Kings. The Kings, they've been in situations like this before, and it is much more dire than it was in Game 1. Especially for Big Man Tings, as the Leviathans have learned how to dive a Hera. And 0-3 now is Big Man Tings. And so we saw, remember, early pressure from the Leviathans on the mid lane in Game 1. We never really saw it doubled down on, outside of probably say yes. So the Leviathans are limiting a route back into these team fights for the Camelot Kings, but this has been the route into the team fight for the Leviathans. Let's pour everything we've got into Big Man Tings. Let's take his Aegis away while we do it. And a killing spree for Panatom. In the meantime, maximizing the moments where they're behind are the Camelot Kings, and they'll finally knock down the Tier 1 tower and left.
Variety is now the one in trouble. This Hera has had nothing of the sort of peel that they had in game number 1, and I think the same thing can be said for the Xing Qian here.
Ooh, he's luckily able to get out of range of the stun. Has to use his ultimate just to confirm his escape, but then it's going to be a Tier 2 tower.
This is the difference in those fights. We're now 20 minutes in, and it's Variety's health bar. Before, he was virtually melted, similar to what just happened to Genetics.
Twig drops Winds of Shamash and does not drop the FG. Into the dirt he goes, and it's Rongyu who sends him there. Variety blinks on away. Zapman makes his way back to his own base. He's got to dash away his Argus from Big Man Tings. sends this Chernobog in the opposite direction. Panatom is back as well. Shinto gets a kill on the right side of the fight. Panatom running down the back line. Big man Tings trying to get on the board, but the only thing that's added is a 5 in the death column. Right side Phoenix being sieged.
I mean, a back and forth game number 1 to just nothing. And so it is very difficult to jump in here and be as successful, especially because Panatom's just running you down like it's nothing.
Is he going to get this kill on the big man Tings? Thank God he's not, for the sake of the Camelot Kings. But now there's a re-engage. Oh, Yarkor grabs the kill. Nonetheless, and now Variety's on the menu, and Yarkor's hungry to eat. Rongyu trying to close that gap. Will leap on forward. Captain Twig makes it back to the fountain, but Variety's got to take the long way around.
And he's just, look, getting chased down. This is going to be a kill.
They let him
eventually.
in. Let him in.
Oh, what a good stun. That's the kind of
it's a
kill
bait.
you need.
It's a bait. Now Yarkor going low. He transforms here, and maybe it's Twig who gets baited in by his solo laner instead. And the Camelot Kings, by the skin of their teeth, will survive.
But they lose the mid-Phoenix turnaround and a huge repel right here for the Kings to stay in.
Variety gets stunned, and look at the follow-up damage that's there. Rongyu's transforming. The Camelot Kings have to know that the push is coming shortly. Coerce finds its way into 3 members of the Leviathans, and in they go. On to Genetics. It's a double knockup from Yarkor, and the setup is gorgeous. And the Leviathans are there on the follow-up, rampaging as Shinto, who's got himself a double kill on the Titan Siege. Goodbye, Twig. Goodbye, Game 2. The Leviathans send us on to game number 3.
What a wild difference between game 1 and game 2. It feels like two completely different teams that show up there. I mean, you get this back and forth nature of game number 1. Everything's equal. A couple of
slows or temporary pulls in with the Merlin via his arcane stance, and even with the ice stance for some of the slows. Fafnir, the long-range hammer. It's going to be a difficult road. I think a lot of it's going to hinder on the fact of this Sylvanas. How is Genetics going to perform with the Sylvanas? We saw what Inbound could do with it with the Scarabs. Can Genetics pull the same level of play with it? We'll have to find out. Jumping into Game 3, Dulcin and Gormizer standing by to bring the action.
Oh, wow. We've had a lot of conversations around Genetics and his God Pool, and how sometimes he has to dig really ballooned out after a couple of fights. And the Leviathans were in a spot where they just ran down whoever on the Kings that they wanted to. So if they can avoid that, much better game 3 look for the Camelot Kings. To jump in from Captain Twig. Uh-oh, goodbye, Panatom. You were chosen to die this time, and the Camelot Kings lock him in place, get themselves first blood. It's a great start for Captain Twig.
Yeah, Twig had no mana, but Panatom had no assistance.
Big Man Ting's one of the more consistent mid laners here in this league. And on a playmaking pick like that, Giannis, you probably give him a fair fight here. Taunt in from Panatom and some value out of the boulder, but it's not enough. And Variety goes down to Yarkor, who's found some pressure on the right side of the map yet again. Captain Twig trying to get out beneath the tier 2, a good through space and time from Big Man Tings. Maybe makes things interesting.
Very same thing, but Shinto's is more, sustained damage and not a huge amount of burst from Panatom for it. So Pin maybe is the best out of him. Not a whole ton that makes me think, oh man, this is going to steal away the objective.
Oh man, that's a dead Variety right there. He's just getting piled on here. Panatom likely didn't even need to use his ult there, but just to make sure that they get the kill onto Variety. And so now the attention's been shifted, right? There's no way we can put as much pressure on Big Man Tings as we did in Game 2 here in Game 3. The
somebody and bringing them out of position will set up the Kings for essentially T-ball.
Zapman, no ultimate, no beads, as we've mentioned already, and so therefore he will not be able to join this fight quickly, at least with his ultimate. Taunt in from Panatom, but it's only caught on to Captain Twig, who wants to be there anyway. And Big Man Tings evaporates the health bar of the Erlong Shen, and there's some setup from Variety, and the shotgun blast from the through space and time sets up for a second kill on a Netrioid.
Twig jumps forward, Variety and Genetics are leaning into it, they want Shinto.
And through the portals they go, the Camelot Kings chasing them down. It's a knockback from Variety, but it's Yarkor who turns around some tethers here. Could be a few stuns on the back end, it's a couple stuns. Yarkor doesn't have the damage, he has the tankiness to stay in the fight, but can't quite complete those kills. And now Captain Twig on the re-engage alongside Variety, who's no good on the pull. That could have been a whole lot worse for the Leviathans. The Kings. And so the Fury still stands strong. Can we say the same about the Pyromancer? Maybe not. In a moment's time, Variety turns around the corner at the wrong time. It's a transformation and a taunt in from Panatom. But the ult from the mid lane from Big Man Tings get used. and that sends the Leviathans running right on back. Shinto goes down for the first kill.
And now our core is trying to chase down Tings, but he still has enough mana for at least one portal.
Big man Tings does not have Aegis, but he does have the portal. Gormizer, can Panatom close this gap? The pin is there, but the beads from big man Tings are good. And this Giannis will walk right on away.
Oh, they get both relics.
The goal man Zap likes this this style of play. You mean I just get to kick back in lane, farm up to level 20, and my team is feeling good? Yeah, I'll take that every time, but not going to want the through space in time to be connecting in onto his lane. A lot committed onto Panatom, and the delete key pressed by Netroid. Zapman crashes back down, and his ultimate well-timed bead had to use him, or else he's getting pulled back in by Genetics. Twig in on the re-jump, though. Watch out, Yarkor and Rongyu are in the back.
Good Aegis from Zapman as well, keeping him alive. But this immense push from the Kings, they used 4 ults. They got 1 kill. Is still worthwhile because they burn a lot of
Chernobog can be swift, and we're going to see what Zapman elects to do here. He's pushing down the tier 2 tower on left as the Fire Giant's been started by the Camelot Kings. Yarkor engages in a 4v5 disadvantage. Panatom's done the same, but he dodges out the through space in time, and look at the massive knockup on the backside from Genetics. And the Leviathans attempting to turn around the damage, and they are doing so. Coerce spreads itself onto Yarkor, and look at the damage from Shinto. Gets the kill on a Netroid.
But he ends up getting a little bit too far. He's still alive. Zapman kills off Genetics before anybody else could fall.
Zapman into the wall, and the auto attacks hit their mark. Variety pulls Zapman into the double kill, and the Chernobog strength is known now. The Camelot Kings, they fall. They lose 3.
And I love the positioning from the Leviathan. Zap, even stepping forward to Twig, recognizes that that might not be the best case scenario. Doesn't have his beat, still has his Aegis, but one drop kick into the wall and you're stunned. Still was willing to take that fight. Twig, though, going to be playing devil's advocate, stopping some backs, and he blinks in on Zap.
Oh, Zapman uses the Aegis, but against the wall he is. Oh, and he dodges out the up down and turns it around. Zapman, big play on the killing spree. A 3-kill swing for the Chernobog.
Why not go ahead and levy this advantage?
That's right. Talked a lot about the objective burn, and this Fire Giant's falling quickly, not without an answer from the Camelot Kings, but it's been reset as Genetics is engaged on. Variety dashes on away. How far has it been reset, though? That's the big question. Just about half HP. As Yarkor uses the Lord of the Afterlife, Netroid has to dash away. The front line, the engage, the initiation from the Leviathans doing serious work here. And now the transformation comes in as the FG is dropped. Netroid burns one away, but he falls in the meantime. Yarkor finds the second here for the Leviathans as Variety sends a boulder around the corner. Still strong enough to do the FG are the Leviathans.
That's a 2-for-1 trade. Dual lane for the mid laner on the Leviathans, but that mid laner is so much damage, but it doesn't matter. Twig's just gone.
Zapman deletes him. Panatom is low here as well. Big man Tings is still on the map. Can he get in range for a steal? No, he cannot. He's been leapt on by Rongyu, and the body blocks around the corner. Zapman's got a double. The Chernobog shows up big. Rampaging is Zapman 29 minutes in.
In the middle of those two fights, big difference maker. First off, 5-0-3 for Zap. Got to give him Zap 5-0-3. And he's got both relics. He's feeling just fine and dandy, sitting in the back line, pouring out damage.
No. Variety walks forward, does not find a pull, and half of his health is suddenly missing. Big man Tings weaves some in onto Rongyu as well. Can Captain Twig find the initiation? No, he can't. It's a taunt back through from Panatom as Netroid uses both actives, but Panatom chases him down, and he finds himself in the dirt. Yarkor finds the kill, and the Leviathans get the left side bird.
And now they're moving over towards the mid, and it's just, again, the engage. You get a little too deep if you're the Kings, and I don't know that it's too deep, realistically. It's just the fact that the reaction time from the Leviathans is so on point that they're dodging out the damage, and you highlighted it, Variety can't get up to the front.
Oh, to jump in onto big man Tings. Can you get the other carry off the board? You might not need to if Variety dies, and he sure does. And it's Panatom who deals the final blow. Big man Tings makes things interesting because Zapman's gone. There's no more Hunter now for the Atlantis Leviathans, but Genetics doesn't have the health to keep on fighting. Panatom chops him down for the double. Shinto makes it 4. Big man Tings, he's on a retreat, and he will die for the DSI, the Atlantis Leviathans, and the win streak. They'll win game 3. They'll take down the Kings.
I mean, just great control this game. They pivot a lot of those fights, and it has to come down to the build. Where do these fights start getting out of hand? It's when Zapman joins. What are they missing that they had in game 1 where they shut down Zap? Spectral armors. It just feels like the